Hello everyone, and welcome to my Gender Studies Creative Project, where I will be breaking down gender inequality through data. This will be a two-part presentation, which will begin with a visualization of the gender data, followed by an analysis of it. In this video, we will be taking a look at the top 10 countries with the largest gender pay gap from 1976 to 2019. The gender wage gap is defined as the difference in earnings between men and women. At the top of the chart, we can see South Korea having the largest gender pay gap in 1976, where Korean males were earning 53% more on average than their female counterparts, followed by Japan at 40% and the USA at 38%. As we watch the video, we can see how the gender wage gap progresses over time and take note of the major events that have played a huge role in closing the gap. Without further ado, let us begin. In 1975, the UK introduced the Sex Discrimination Act alongside the Equal Pay Act to prohibit unfavourable treatment between men and women. This was a huge step towards gender equality by protecting female employees from unfair treatment by their employers. In 1984, Minnesota became the first US state to adopt an equal pay for equal value policy. Over time, we can see how the gender wage gap in the US is closing as more and more states follow suit. By 1989, we can observe that the gender wage gap in the US has since gone down by roughly 20% after such laws were carried out. Following that, the US Supreme Court established that gender stereotyping is deemed as sex discrimination and provided a framework for proving discrimination to incriminate offenders. In 1995, the UN introduced gender-responsive budgeting to help governments promote equality through the budget process. This is to encourage governments to prepare their budgets from a gender perspective so that public funds can be equally distributed upon the needs of women and men. Since 2009, many European countries such as Norway and Denmark began requiring companies to publish pay data in a push for greater transparency of the wage gap. In October 2016, thousands of working women in Iceland seized international attention by leaving their offices at 2:38 p.m., 14% earlier than usual, to protest the 14% gender wage gap in their country. As a result, the Icelandic government introduced the first policy in the world that requires companies to actively prove that they are paying men and women equally for a job of equal value. In order to receive certification to operate, companies without this certification will incur a daily fine. Currently, Iceland is the most gender-equal country in the world, according to the World Economic Forum 2020 report. For the next part of the presentation, we will be looking at a comparison on both ends of the scale and break down the reasons for the large gender wage gap in Korea and Japan.